Welcome back, Focus learners, to another explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We are completely stripping away the long, drawn-out family arguments of classic board games and zeroing in on a ruthless, fast-paced duel. We're looking at a beginner's guide to Monopoly Rivals. If you want a quick, strategic two-player real estate battle, you are absolutely in the right place. Okay, let's dive into this. So here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the Ultimate Monopoly Rivalry, move right into board setup and starting cash, cover moving and claiming properties, followed by rent, auctions, and deals. Then we'll touch on action cards and jail time, and finally, bankrupting your opponent. We're going to go from setting up the board to utterly destroying your rival in no time. Let's jump in. Section 1. The Ultimate Monopoly Rivalry. So what is the actual object of this two-player game? Well, it's beautifully simple, yet honestly, incredibly aggressive. Your goal is to buy all the properties on the board and bankrupt your opponent. As a beginner, knowing you have to be aggressive from minute one is absolutely crucial to winning. I mean, we're talking total monopoly here. You aren't just trying to have the most money when a clock runs out. You're actively trying to drain your rival's bank account to absolute zero, or just completely buy out the town before they do.
Section 2. Board setup and starting cash.
The physical setup here is elegantly quick compared to standard Monopoly. It's basically 3 steps. Shuffle the cards face down, grab your colored houses, and drop your token right on go. And hey, a really fun beginner tip to kick things off: the player with the closest birthday actually gets to go first. Okay, next up, the bank distributes the starting cash. And listen, you really need to pay attention to these specific numbers. Each player receives exactly 8 $100 bills and 4 $50 bills. So that's a total of just $1,000 each. Keep in mind, the remainder of the money stays with the bank. Scarcity is a massive factor here, guys. Cash is extremely tight, which makes literally every single spending decision critical right from turn 1. Section 3. Moving and claiming properties. Turns just alternate back and forth, and the basic rhythm of the game is wonderfully simple. Step 1, roll the die. Step 2, move your token exactly that many spaces clockwise around the board. Step 3, take the action of whatever space you landed on. It's a really fast loop, meaning there is virtually no downtime. You're constantly engaged. Now, what's really interesting about this is a crucial rule for beginners. Claiming unowned properties is completely free. Yeah, you heard that right. If you land on an unowned space, you claim it by placing one of your colored houses right on it, and you don't pay the bank a single dime. This dramatically changes the strategy. The early game is basically a frantic land grab where you want to cover as much of the board in your color as possible, completely free of charge. Section 4. Rent, auctions, and deals. Of course, the free ride doesn't last forever. When you land on a property owned by your opponent, you have to pay them the value indicated on the board. And here's the kicker: you cannot postpone payment to a future turn. You have to pay them right then and there. Even worse, if you land on a property that's part of a full colored set owned by your rival, you have to pay them double the amount shown on the board. Completing sets is a massive, intimidating threat in this game. Now, what if a set isn't finished yet? Well, auctions trigger in a very specific scenario, and it's easy to misunderstand. Let's say you land on your own property, but the matching colored space is currently unowned. Boom! Sudden auction for that unowned space. Both players bid, and the highest bidder pays the bank and claims the new property with their house. It's this sudden, tense bidding war that can completely swing the momentum of the game in a matter of seconds. But hey, what happens if you land on an opponent's space and you're suddenly short on those $150 bills we talked about? Well, the game lets you negotiate deals. You can actually offer to trade your own properties to your opponent in exchange for covering your rent. This requires a bit of sweet-talking and strategic bartering. Sure, you might lose a property, but saving your cash might just keep you alive long enough to turn the tables. Section 5. Action cards and jail time. Okay, so when you land on a chance or community chess space, you draw the top card from the corresponding deck. Most of these cards have to be played immediately and then placed right back on the bottom of the deck. However, there are 4 very powerful cards you can keep face up on the table for later use. They are Just Say No, Skip the Rent, Double Rent, and Triple Rent. As a beginner, just remember that holding on to these keepable cards creates massive psychological pressure on your opponent, because they know you've got a major trick up your sleeve. And then there's the most infamous space on literally any Monopoly board. So what actually happens when you inevitably land on Go to Jail? Well, the penalty is swift. You must instantly move your token to the jail space, and you completely lose your next turn. After that skip turn, you're released and can move normally again. But here is an incredibly unique rule just for Monopoly Rivals. Only one player can be in jail at a time. Since it's a head-to-head game, it literally prevents a scenario where you're both locked up just staring awkwardly at each other through the bars.
Let's quickly cover the last few edge cases for movement. If you land on free parking or just the just visiting section of the jail, take a breath. Absolutely nothing happens. You're totally safe. But if you land on a property you already own and you actually own that entire colored set, you get a fantastic bonus. You get to draw one chance or community chest card. It's this great little incentive that rewards you for actively landing on your completed monopolies.
Section 6. Bankrupting your opponent. We mentioned trading earlier, but if you owe rent and you simply cannot pay, things get desperate. For a beginner, you need to know this is the desperation phase. Avoid this if you possibly can, because if you are forced to liquidate, you have to sell your properties back to the bank for their listed price just to raise capital. Alternatively, if your opponent is feeling generous, or more likely predatory, you can sell the property directly to them for any agreed-upon amount.
If you've sold everything, traded everything, and you're still ultimately unable to pay the rent you owe, that's it. The game is over and you've lost. There is also a second, equally devastating way to lose. If your opponent manages to buy up all the properties on the board before you go broke, they instantly claim victory. Either way, the rivalry ends with absolute finality, leaving one player totally dominating the real estate market.
Monopoly Rivals takes the classic economic warfare we all know and streamlines it into an aggressive, fast-paced duel where every free house placement and carefully timed action card matters. Now that you have this beginner's guide under your belt, it's time to set up the board and find out for yourself. Will you claim the board, or will you be the one bankrupted today? Thanks for joining me on This Explainer Focus Learners. Get out there and start your rivalry.